I have heard stories of children who were assaulted and molested by older people, and to be frank, those stories never sit well with me. To me, kids are the cutest, purest creatures that need to be protected and cared for. And when people take advantage of their helplessness, it just ends up being very awful. Welcome back to the Crime Lab channel. In today's video, we will be looking at the story of the little kid who was sexually assaulted and then killed by her grandmother's boyfriend. At times, when kids are taken away from their parents and sent to live with someone else, maybe a distant relative or family friend, things usually end up messy. Some usually come out of it better, while others don't make it out as good. This is a case of the latter, but I believe you require more info for context. The 12-year-old in question is Taya Sharp, a little girl born on 30th June 2000. Her death was rated as a high-profile case in the United Kingdom. At first, Taya was reported missing from her grandmother, Christine Bicknell's house in New Addington, South London. According to her grandmother's boyfriend at the time, Stuart Hazel, Taya had left the house and gone to Croydon, a town 5 miles away, to buy shoes in the Whitgift Center on 3 August 2012. According to the reports from the police, Taya only had a small amount of money and did not take her travel card or mobile phone. They also stated that her disappearance was out of character and was appealing for help finding her. She was reportedly last seen wearing a yellow bandeau top, light gray leopard print leggings, and black and pink Nike high-top trainers. It was a very troubling case for the family as Taya's uncle, David Sharp, made a televised plea for her safe return on 7th August. Throughout her disappearance, 55 sightings were reported by members of the public, but none were verified. Area Commander Neil Basu said, "I am looking to find Taya safe and well. I can't imagine how it must feel for this family after 5 days. The family want Taya home. They miss her dreadfully. I have had Olympic resources redirected to help in the search for Taya, and over the last 3 days or so, that has meant more than 100 extra uniformed officers in the Croydon and Mitcham areas. There are over 80 officers working on this case, 40 of them detectives and 40 of them specialist search officers. I will make more available if necessary." Apart from the 80 police officers being put on the case, the police also stated that about 800 hours of CCTV footage had been gathered. Specialist search dogs and police helicopters were also used in the search, which included checks of open ground and premises within a 500 meters radius of the house in New Addington. Officers also checked garages, lockups, all public access areas, the local school, and wooded areas, yet there was still no sign of Taya. Criminologist Mark Williams-Thomas spoke with the entire family on 9th August, and he said that Stuart had given his own theories about where he thought Taya might be. Mr. Williams-Thomas told Sky News he spent some time talking to me, very clearly wanting it to be off the record when we spoke in the kitchen away from everyone else. He spoke about his thoughts and what he thought had happened to her. In the interview, Stuart insisted he would not do anything to hurt the girl he loves to bits. That must have meant something else to him, because the next day, the police decided to visit Christine's place for the 4th time, and they made a shocking discovery. They find a body in a black bedsheet in a black bag in the loft of the home of Taya's grandmother. All fingers were pointed at Stuart, and the police launched a search for him, arresting him on suspicion of murder that evening at 8:25 p.m. at Cannon Hill Common, Morden, after a tip-off from a member of the public. It was later announced that the police had arrested 2 other people: Taya's grandmother, Christine, on suspicion of murder, and Christine's neighbor, Paul Meehan, on suspicion of assisting an offender. However, Christine and Paul were subsequently bailed. Commander Neil Basu apologized to Taya's mother, Natalie, for the delay in finding her daughter's body. He blamed human error and said a review would be undertaken to ensure such a failing is not repeated. Shortly after Stewart's arrest, memory cards were recovered from Christine's residence, one of which was particularly well hidden in a door frame on the property's ground floor. Police recovered images and videos, some of which had been deleted. Some of the files portrayed Taya in sexual positions, believed to have been taken after she died. In contrast, others were images of when Taya was still alive, for example, videos of her applying moisturizer to her legs or her asleep in her bedroom. Forensic psychologist Dr. Carrie Nixon suggested that Stewart may have kept these images for later sexual gratification. In the early hours of 12 August, Stewart was charged with the murder of Sharp. He appeared before Camberwell Green Magistrates Court on 13 August via video link. No plea was entered, and the case was committed to the Old Bailey for trial, with the first appearance on 15 August, also via video link, with a preliminary hearing set for 19 November and a provisional trial date set for 21 January 2013. He appeared via video link because the police feared vigilante attacks in court after dozens of death threats were posted online. He was remanded in custody to Belmarsh Prison, where he was kept in isolation for his own safety and being watched 24 hours a day by prison warders amid fears of attacks by other inmates. It was reported that Stewart had faced further death threats in prison. A source told the Sun newspaper, "Everyone in the kitchen was talking about him arriving. Inmates are talking of death threats. You can hear his name being shouted out from cells. He's being kept in isolation and under 24-hour watch for his own safety." The autopsy of the body found in Christine's home took a while to be completed, but it was later concluded, and the body was identified as Taya's. However, the cause of death wasn't established. Experts said that the delay in finding the body made it much harder to establish the cause of death, and that without a cause of death, the prosecution would find it much harder to build a case. However, detectives suspected, and it was widely reported, that Taya was suffocated. Although this was not officially proven to be the cause of death, forensic psychologist Dr. Carrie Nixon suggested that Stewart may have made sexual advances toward Taya and murdered her when she rejected him and threatened to tell her mother. Taya Sharp was cremated on 14 September. After a private family funeral, and it was announced on 26 November 2012 that Stewart would face trial in May 2013. On the opening day of his murder trial, the court heard that Stewart had repeatedly accessed pedophile images of prepubescent girls on his mobile phone. Police also mentioned that they found 2 memory cards from Hazel's cameras, which contained a series of secret photographs and videos of Taya, including footage of her sleeping and putting moisturizer on her legs. The jury was shown the last image Stewart took on his mobile phone, which he then copied to his camera, and was found on one of the memory cards. The picture was of a naked, prepubescent girl, whom the prosecution said was Taya, lying on her bed at her grandmother's home. Blood was visible on the bedding in the picture, and in the corner of the picture, the hand of one of the girl's dolls can be seen. The picture was taken after Taya's death between 3 to 6 a.m. on 3 August 2012 and had been modeled by Stewart. The prosecutor, Andrew Eden, said Taya Sharp died a sudden, and we suggest, violent death. The prosecution case is that Stewart Hazel had a sexual attraction to Taya Sharp. There was some form of sexual assault, and that was the reason he killed her. Stewart also stored another bin bag containing incriminating items in the loft, according to the prosecution. The contents included his t-shirt, which was found to have the child's blood on it, and a pair of his spectacles, which were broken and carried one of Sharp's fingerprints on a lens. The prosecutor said the idea was to say that Taya Sharp had left home. This was the lie that was being prepared. Stewart Hazel pleaded not guilty to murder when he appeared in court on 8 March 2013. However, on 13 May, he changed his plea to guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 38 years, meaning he will be 7 to 5 years old before he is eligible for parole. Thank you for watching this video. Hit us up in the comment section and give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos.